right quick. We'll worry about this later. Oh my goodness, wrong one. There we go. Here we go. What's going on, Dre? How you feeling tonight, boss?
I'm good, man. Ready for another Tuesday. I mean, we had a pretty eventful week of watching the football, talking to say the least. So.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get like, well, how'd your weekend go, bruh? I feel like, well, actually, let me let you go ahead first before I get to talk about myself, man. How was your weekend, boss?
It was cool. It's funny because I live out in Charles County, and we don't. I was really expecting the cicada invasion to hit us heavy because this is Charles County. We buy wood,
Hmm.
but I haven't really seen any cicadas. Like we don't. I mean, honestly, where I live, I haven't seen a single carcass, anything.
Really?
But every time I venture, just as soon as I hit Branch Avenue, I get the Brandywine. Man, them cicadas be going in because I went to visit my sister this weekend. She live in Silver Springs.
Uh,
So my car just looked like a murder scene of splattered bugs and everything. And you get
uh,
over her house, man, like cicadas just waiting for you with signs like they at the airport looking for
bruh.
you. And I'm looking at the hardest dudes out there screaming like girls when they get hit by these cicadas.
Hey, that shit is crazy. Cause I seen that tweet right, and literally like probably like an hour or maybe 2 hours before I saw that tweet, um, we had a flag football game, and this dude on our team, bruh, like he got he for whatever reason he upset, right? He ain't getting that much playing time that he wanted, all that type of shit. He don't understand that, you know what I'm saying? You got earn that playing time. But he on the sideline in the middle of him arguing, it's a cicada like clearly trying to land on him or some shit. And he telling us to swat the cicada for him, screaming and shit, running around in circles. I'm like, nigga, it's a cicada, bro. Just knock it down, bro. If you can't,
Hey,
if
ain't no
like you,
bite.
it ain't gonna kill you, bro. They don't bite. You know what I'm saying? They blind, deaf, and dumb.
Yeah,
That's all. All they think
they ain't
everybody
nothing
a
but a
plant.
big fly. That's what they are.
Exactly, man.
He ain't nothing but a big fly.
That shit crazy, bro. But hey, look, shout out to everybody who watches the live streams and everybody who's shown some support to this point. On what day is it? Today is Tuesday. Maybe it was Sunday. I got the alert that we were able to reach Twitch affiliate, or I was able to reach Twitch affiliate on here, man. And like I said when I tweeted it out, I appreciate everybody who's been watching live and showing support, and obviously everybody who's been actually a part of the product. I don't know where that shit's gonna take us, you know what I'm saying? But it's one step up in the Twitch realm. So we're gonna keep going and see however far Trap or Dive goes and all this shit on Twitch, man. So appreciate everybody. And also, if things keep going well throughout the summer, obviously during the regular season, because football isn't officially here yet, but if things keep going well, man, I'll definitely have something to give back, to show my appreciation for everybody who has been showing support, man. So I always look out, and I appreciate everybody who's been looking out to this point. Darius, Darius, what's going on, bruh? Y'all are whooping the Hawks ass right now. But I you know what I'm saying, I'm actually surprised, not in the sense that y'all beating them, but the fact that y'all beating them this bad. Last time I checked, it was 18-4. So y'all are doing y'all thing, bro. Y'all just better hope Trey Young don't get hot.
Still early. Still
Yeah,
early.
you better hope Trey Young don't get hot, my brother. All right. With that being said, man, let's go ahead and get into tonight's show. We got some Chase Young to talk about, receiver position group, and then we wanna close this out with some Taylor Heinicke. Cause I know AJ first. Oh, AJ, all right, bet. Cause last I checked, you was on mute, man. How you feeling, AJ? You all right, boss?
Man, I don't know if it's the allergies, what, but something's kicking my fucking ass over here, dog. So
Oh,
yeah, that's why I'm on mute. I'm sneezing, coughing.
oh no, you good, man. You know what I'm saying? They say water really do the trick. You know what I'm saying? Drink a lot of water, drink some milk. You know what I'm saying? That should get you back
Fluid.
right.
Ain't been helping. Ain't been helping, but I guess I'll try again.
It's like, nah, man. All right, hang in there, brother. We gonna be quick for you. We got three topics, man. I want to hear your thoughts, and I definitely want to hear your thoughts on the Heinicke subject. Given me and Dre talked about it to an extent last week, but this will kind of round things out. Given you weren't here last week, so this will be a good one. Let's go ahead and get into the quote of the week. So I actually have two. But the first one is actually stemming from the controversy, quote unquote controversy that we had last week with Chase Young, right? This was from Michael Phillips. He had an article on his notes and observations from mini camps, and the quote of the week comes from Chase Young, or the first quote of the week. He says, "They know I've been working. My teammates, they know I've been working." And then this is obviously referring to his absences from OTAs. And he said he also let the coaches know they understood. I sent the trainer, Chad Englehart, videos all the time of stuff I was doing. And I've been in the building in phase 1 and phase 2, in and out. So I've been there and I've shown face. And, they know I'm locked in. Everybody knows I'm locked in. Fellas, like we said, and AJ, if you want to have a full opinion on this, trust me, the floor is yours. But obviously, we know we had the talk last week about him missing OTAs and what it takes to kind of be a leader. And he said what he said. And I think, like I said, I think that's fair. He mentioned that the reason why he missed OTAs point blank was money and health. Like, that was literally it. He had sponsorships that he wanted to, or endorsements that he wanted to take care of, and he wanted to work on his health, given that he was dealing with some injuries heading into the season last year. So, fellas, y'all got any thoughts on Chase Young in general, whatever the situation is referring to?
I mean, I feel like as long as coaches know, and plus it's voluntary, it's just the media tries to make a big deal out of everything. I mean, if you think about it, not nationwide, but league-wide, there's very few locks on the team, and he's a lock. So most of those guys have roster bonuses tied into their contracts that they need to be there. They don't really want to be there. It's like, am I going to risk losing 100,000, 200,000, 250,000 for not coming to a workout? Whereas like Chase can afford to do so because he has those endorsement opportunities. But I mean, I think he said something today where he was just, stating that everyone knew about the communication, what was going on.
Yeah.
And even, him being on the team last year, he wasn't trying to be a leader. He was just doing what he does. You feel me? So to some people that comes off like he's a leader, but that's where I say, like, there's always a misconception on who leaders are. It's not always your best player on your team. It just really depends on who has true leadership skills. He's just setting leadership by example by his play on the field and being a dog. But it doesn't sound like that's something he necessarily wants the title of. It's like it's being forced upon him by the media. And it just kind of like made me think, like, damn, where's the storyline going to go? Because it seems like the media is going to keep trying to push him as the leader, which may not be a problem for him. But he definitely said in his presser today that, that's not something that he was striving to be a leader. He's just doing what he's accustomed to doing. That's it.
You got something, Dre?
No,
I ain't one.
I definitely agree. No, I agree with AJ. I mean, AJ makes a great point about the whole leadership thing, and I kind of touched on that last week about Chase, and that his personality in general, he has that kind of alpha personality that he's also mature for his age, so that can look like leadership to others, and others are going to follow that, and they're going to kind of feed off of that, what he's given them. But like I said, last week, my opinion stays the same. It was like, if he's in constant communication with his coaches and his teammates and he's doing what he's supposed to do, that's cool. But I'm glad that he also mentioned the kind of endorsement things that's tied up in the reason why. Now, I know a lot of people in the media will say, oh, that's not a big enough thing to blow off your teammates. But here's what a lot of people in the media and fans in general aren't used to, is people like Chase Young with that marketable status. How many players have we had with Chase Young's type of marketability here? I mean, it's been very few. I mean, RG3, I mean, you could probably say Deshaun Jackson for his little step, RG3 for his 1 year, but Chase Young is that, you know what I mean? So they're going to have different things going on than their average teammates, which the media, that's used to, the regular choir boys, or they want the choir boys. To them, the whole Chase Young thing looks like, oh, he's blowing off teammates. No, I mean, he's just a star. Stars have different opportunities and different obligations than the regular teammates. But as you've seen today when he came in, it looked like he missed a beat as far as chemistry wise. He was still being the same old Chase. His teammates was having fun with him. No one looked like they were upset. Ron and Jack both reiterated that, hey, it was voluntary. He was in constant communication with it, no problem. So that's where I'm at on it.
And just to even piggyback on Dre real quick, like I'm someone who, negotiates these type of endorsement deals. It's definitely worth him missing fucking voluntary camp. Like you're talking about someone that's actually doing production shoots. So the production shoots alone is separate than the entire deal. So you're making upwards to someone of Chase Young's caliber. You're making upwards of $50,000 to $70,000 to shoot a commercial for 6 hours. And that's just one deal. So it's definitely worth it. And it's all part of being the face of the franchise. If you want to title him the face of the franchise, those are the obligations that you have to take a part of, and you have to utilize your time correctly, especially if you're working with a lot of different brands. You don't really have that much time anyways. So yeah, you got to make the best of it. But at the end of the day, it's voluntary. There's a lot of guys around the league that do their own thing. And man, I used to represent Asante Samuel. Asante Samuel never went to any OTAs. He never went to any OTAs, and he had in his contract a bonus of $500,000 every season they get for going to OTAs. He just didn't fuck with it. He just didn't want to do it. I mean, it's stupid in hindsight, to miss that kind of bread, because you never know when you might need it. But there's certain guys that really just like to do their own thing and really don't care about the fact that, hey, I need to show up to this voluntary workout to get these type of bonuses and such or whatever. I just think, when you have guys, I guess maybe like the Michael Phillips or the Grant Paulsons that's kind of like highlighting the guy for not being present at voluntary workouts, it's like me and him kind of got into it on Twitter last week. It's like, yo, you really don't realize that you have a voice. Like, you have a platform where people treat your words as gospel. You got to be careful what you say, because it's like you're trying to shit on him for not being at something that he doesn't even need to be at.
Hey, that's literally what I said last week, man. People with the voice in the media, no matter if they're liked or disliked, the point is they have a voice and they can be persuasive, given that they talk to a lot of people and they reach a lot of people at the same time. And they got to be careful. Now, Phillips, to his credit, because I don't know exactly what he's been saying on the daily, but in this one, he was just covering the press conference that Chase Young had. But to your point, there's people because I've seen the Grant Paulson tweet from last week, but there's people in the media who will press on. And my thing with this is, I know for a fact, with him talking about him being completely honest with us, him saying that he's doing endorsement deals and protecting his health, but they're going to focus on that endorsement part. Like, somebody, I don't know who it is, but I know.
Yeah, they're gonna try to play him like he's RG3.
They're gonna extrapolate this thing out.
Right.
Absolutely, and that's a dangerous thing to trend to hop on, man, because you're in a situation where you understand where Chase is at, and you broke it down the best. So I'm not even going to reiterate what you said, AJ. Like, you broke it down as best as possible. Like, he's in a position where he can continue to build on his stature and his recognition and what he represents for the team. And people just got to let it happen, man. He missed OTAs. It wasn't mandatory. It's really just simple as that. It really does come down to that, man. Okay. I think we said enough about Chase Young. We're happy he's back, man. Fingers crossed for good health and all that good stuff, man. He definitely, there was some good reviews for him, even though it's mini camps, but there was some good reviews for him this week in terms of his practice, but also some more vocal leadership coming out of that camp, because I think he said something to Jamin Davis just in terms of preparation and how he treats himself on the practice field and off the practice field. But yeah, we go into the next quarter of the week. So, the wide receivers coach, for whatever reason, I'm missing his last name. I think it's Drew Terrell, though. Drew Terrell is the receivers coach for Washington football team. And he raved about Cam Sims and called him the glue of their group. Specifically, his quote was, "He became a true pro last year." Speaking on 2020, we relied on him a ton. He's done a fantastic job. He's one of the smartest guys in the room as far as being being able to move him around at the position. So they're really excited for Cam and what's ahead. Fellas, my question for you all, how do you see this position group playing out in general? Because there's going to be a few guys that we all thought had some potential throughout some point of the season last year and throughout some point of the offseason last year. Things have changed drastically this offseason. We've added a few people, man, and clearly the top 3 or top 4 is already set. So how is this position group playing out for y'all? Who's going to stick around? Who has the best chance to stick around? Who do you all see that may be surprising to some, but not surprising to you, that gets cut? Tackle it any way you want. I'm just posing all the questions. Yep.
No, I mean, so this wide receiver group last year, in the last couple of years, it went from a severe weakness to maybe one of your strengths on the team. Now, we're not talking about maybe a top 10 group in the NFL or anything, but this is a group that you're probably going to look at from 1 to 6 from the guys that they're going to keep on the roster and say, this is a solid group of guys from 1 to 6. And a few guys are going to get cut, and they're going to piss the fan base off in training camp. Once August comes, there's going to be some guys that get cut. From this group, the fans are going to swear he's going to be a star somewhere else. And it's the point to bring Cam Sims because I really liked what Cam showed last year. He was probably above his head a lot of times in having to play our number 2 receiver. Now, you don't want that. You don't want Cam Sims as your number 2 receiver, but you could do a lot worse than Cam Sims as your number 4 or number 5 receiver. So I think he sticks with that group. So we may be talking about 5 guys. That's a lot because you got Terry, you got Curtis, Amy Brown, and Adam Humphries, and then there's Cam Sims. So now you're talking about Steven Sims Jr., Antonio Gandy Golden, Kelvin Harmon, and Dax Milne all fighting for one spot. So that's going to be one of the most intriguing battles for me to watch the whole training camp because I want to see coming out of that group. I mean, Steven Sims Jr., he's on thin ice. I mean, because he had a really disappointing season last year. Antonio Gandy Golden, who we just drafted in the 4th round last year, he's on thin ice because he had a really disappointing rookie year where he just looked lost. But he's still young. He's also a guy that may see the light in his second year. And you got Kelvin Harmon, who's a fan favorite for fans that loved him when they drafted him out of NC State, but he got hurt last year. So you want to see how he returns off an injury. And then you got the guy from this year, Dax Milne, who played with Zach Wilson up at BYU. He was his best receiver up there, and that guy could be what everyone wanted Trey Quinn to be. So that's going to be one of the more intriguing battles of training camp that I want to see all year because I want to see who makes those last 2 to 1 spot out of all of those guys.
Yeah, we comparing white wide receivers to white wide receivers.
I mean, for us, yeah.
I'm just playing, but I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the guys with the hype on the team, like Antonio Golden, whatever his name is,
Gandy Golden,
and Gandy Golden, and Cam Sims, they're definitely at a benefit of making this roster. I mean, if you look at the rest of the wide receiver corps, it's smaller guys, and you still kind of need that big possession guy on your team. I think it really just boils down to if Steven Sims can start consistently making catches. If he can, I think he has a good chance of making the team. I think Adam Humphries might be the one on the bubble. I just really don't see where he gets any reps unless Curtis Samuel continues to be hurt throughout the season. I think it's wide open. Is who's gonna make an impression with the 3 preseason games, and just go from there. I think it's a toss up, but I'm still not really thrilled at the wide receiver position. But I think it's just if one of those key guys go down, like Terry McLaurin or Curtis Samuel, it's like where do you go next? You pretty much back to 2020.
So let me ask you all, because my boy Darius, he's a Philly fan, so he's trying to get some intel. What are y'all thoughts on Dyami Brown? Just kind of fill him in on where you at personally with the guy. Obviously, personally, I think he's a lock. And I think I think it's safe to assume that y'all are gonna say he's a lock as well. But what are y'all thoughts on him as a receiver?
He definitely a lot. Third round pick. Yeah, he's gonna make the team. So I think you possibly looking at Diami Brown as one of your top 3 wide receivers. I mean, he has that potential. Some people even think he has the potential to be a number 2 guy at some point. Like, that's the explosive ability he has. That's what he did at UNC. But what you want to see from him is him developing a more broader route tree, because that was one of his knocks coming out of UNC, is that he pretty much just ran the fly route. But he played in the ACC. I mean, it's not the SEC or nothing. So if you could beat your guy with one route all day, you're going to do it. But I don't think that means he's limited to just that one route. It's just that you want to see that he can do more, because, I mean, he seems like he has the ability. But I think he could be possibly playing more outside than Curtis Samuel this year. So I think he has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think he's on the outside as well. But in terms of my opinion, because Disco, you brought up a good point, right? I want to like Cam Sims, but he's so inconsistent for me. Big catch, then big drop. I agree with that. I like Cam Sims, so I'm past the point of wanting to. I am a fan of Cam Sims. But again, consistency is his issue, and that's the same thing with Steven Sims as well, right? The issue with other players that we're looking at with this position group, the guys, Kelvin Harmon, Antonio Gandy Golden, those 2 in particular, for whatever AGG, his issues were, he was irrelevant, a non-factor, invisible on the field when he was on the field. And then, he dealt with some injuries. I can't remember specifically what it was. It may have been one injury that was actually keeping him out. I don't remember. But Kelvin Harmon is obviously coming off the ACL. These 2 guys are already, they're probably at the lower end, and trying to overcome the injury things and proving that they can play, but then also having to take on the fact that Isaiah Wright is a versatile guy. Steven Sims is a versatile guy. We're talking about, when I say that, I'm talking about being able to play receiver and special teams. AGG, we don't know what he does. Like, literally, I don't know. Like, obviously he's a receiver, but how talented is he on the pro level? But would they even consider putting him at special teams? Like, what is your value outside of being able to play that position? Because at this point, when you're talking about the bottom end of the roster, you have to do a little bit more. And Steven Sims, I like him as a return man. I don't like him at punt return, but he's a very good kick returner. And for the life of me, I cannot explain why the hell they took him off kick return duty and only put him solely at punt return, because that was what killed him. I don't know what type of momentum thing or mental thing that was kind of holding him back, but he was terrible. And he was terrible 2 years in a row. Like, he was playmaking at kickoff returns. He had kickoff returns for touchdowns, and they refused to put him back there. I didn't get it. So it really comes down to being able to.
Jamal also wanted to point out. Yeah, I was going to say, talk about the bottom of the roster, and since you brought up the whole kick return, punt return thing with Steven Sims, it's interesting you mentioned that, because it's a guy I keep forgetting on the roster that they just found right after this.
Your guy. I think it's Carter something, right?
DeAndre Carter. Yeah, DeAndre Carter. He's specifically a kick punt return specialist. And I mention him because this is a guy you could see get a roster spot simply for the fact that something I always mention is that we drafted a long snapper. So clearly specialty positions matter to this group of coaches. So that could be a guy that could be making Steven Sims even more expendable.
Yeah. So first of all, what's going on, Jared? He mentioned that he keep hearing people say that they should move AGG to tight end. What do you? First off, I've heard about Kelvin Harmon more than I've heard about AGG, Jared. And in my opinion, like, thinking on the spot, I don't know, bruh. I don't know. Not for either one of them. Kelvin Harmon, AGG, like, these experiments are kind of like, they're too far gone. Especially at the receiver position, you either gotta show up, bruh. You gotta show up, because they got their tight ends. They got the type of guys that they're looking for, right? You have what's his name? Logan Thomas, who's a particular build. Then you got John Bates, and then Samus Reyes, and the new guy that I'm drawing a blank on, the former receiver, who is actually a big body, decent tight end at this point. So they kind of have their build, and it's kind of hard to convert somebody who's in a roster battle. They can do it, but they're kind of shorting themselves versus just trying to prove themselves a receiver. So I don't think Kelvin should switch to tight end. I don't think AGG should switch to tight end at all. They just got to show up. Otherwise, they're on the chopping block. And if I had to guess, Dre, we're talking what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bottom end receivers. I'm thinking they keep 2 out of Kelvin, AGG, Steven Sims, Isaiah Wright, and Dax Milne. Who do you think those 2 are for you? Or if you have more, who are those people for you?
You talking about who do I think will be the last 2 guys from the group?
Yeah, because we're assuming McLaurin,
I think
Curtis, and Diami and Adam Humphries, Cam Sims may still be around. If you have other opinion, yeah, who do you got?
Yeah, if I had to predict today, right now, my last 2 would be Cam Sims and Dax Milne, the rookie. I think Antonio Gandy-Goldie, you probably will stash him on the practice squad. Maybe same with Kelvin Harmon coming off his injury. And as far as like moving guys like AGG to tight end, I don't know. I guess it just depends on if that's what they really want. I remember them doing that with slower big guys like Niles Paul. He's the last guy I remember us converting from wide receiver to tight end, and it made sense because Niles had that big stocky body. But I mean, tight end is a little different. You got to be able to block. You got to show willingness to block. So it's more than just running routes and being, a guy can go out there and catch some footballs or whatever. So it's got to be a willingness to take on that position. So I don't know if those guys are there yet. I don't know if the coaching staff feels that those guys can be molded into tight ends, or if they even want to do that, because they already got guys at tight ends that's tight ends. So, but as far as that goes, like the last 2 spots, I'm going to right now go record saying Cam Sims and Dax Milne gets the last 2 spots.
All right, so AJ, we were saying we're assuming obviously McLaurin, Curtis, Diami or roster locks. Obviously you had an opinion on Adam Humphries. You said you weren't you may think that you're led to believe that he can be the odd man out. So up to you. Who are the 2 or 3 bottom end of the receiver position group? Who are those that's being kept? So you have Adam, Cam, Kelvin, AGG, Steven Sims, Isaiah Wright, Dax Milne. Those are the other guys that's probably up for grabs, their position. I mean their spot. Excuse me.
So you're saying who would they keep?
Yeah, who do you think they end up keeping?
I think they end up keeping Harmon and Sims. Everybody else, I feel like might be.
Wait, which Sims? Which Sims we talking about?
Which Sims?
Say that again.
Which one? Cam or Steven?
Oh, Cam Sims.
Okay.
I told y'all a couple episodes ago. I don't think Steven Sims is making the team.
Yeah, I don't see it either at all.
Like I said, unless he done got some LASIK surgery, some new hands from Dr. Miami or something. But yeah, I can't really see him making the team.
Yeah, I really don't, bruh. And I don't see it for Steven. And I think best case scenario for AGG is that he gets to practice squad. Now, Disco, you did mention he felt that people were a bit harsh on AGG. He's a rookie from a small conference school and he was injured. I don't know if that helps him in this case, man. Because think about it, Disco and fellas, like they did a lot to upgrade the receiver position this offseason. Like if they don't have time to sit and wait and see if like AGG can really do something. And that's a lot for the people that we're talking about here. Like Kelvin, they don't have time to wait and see. AGG, whoever steps up for them is whoever shows out in training camps, whoever shows out in preseason, that's who they keeping. And I think like at best, AGG for me, he's going no further than practice squad. I don't like it'll take a miracle for that motherfucker to just all of a sudden boom shoot up. He on the active roster. I don't see it. I just don't see it. So if you had to ask me, y'all, Cam Sims for sure, and maybe Kelvin Harmon, but I don't see any other guys being kept.
I mean, I did come in on the part where I heard Dre talking about AGG possibly moving to tight end. I think you have to potentially try him there because I mean, you got a lot of flex style guys. I mean, let's think about it. Jimmy Graham is not a blocking tight end at all, but he's made a lot of money. He's made a lot of plays in the league. Just being able to go across the middle and making these 50-50 jump ball catches, and that's what AJG is really specialized in. It's like, why don't you give it a try? I mean, yeah, you got a lot of tight ends on the roster, but you really don't have. I mean, you have now one veteran in Ricky Jean Seals or however.
Oh yeah, Ricky Seals Jones. That's the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Yep.
whatever. But outside of that, you have no veteran tight end. So it's like everybody there is a project, including Logan. Even though he had like a nice little season last year, he's still a work in progress. So why not give somebody who has that repertoire already playing outside, has enough agility to get open, and also the best thing that he does attribute-wise is a 50-50 ball. So, and plus a lot of guys that end up getting drafted playing wide receiver, they don't really adapt to the league immediately. It takes at least 2 to 3 years for most wide receivers to get adapted to the league.
It's gonna be hard for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard for me to get convinced about AJG.
I was gonna say, that's the thing. Like AJ is right as far as like it takes time, but the problem is at the wide receiver position, it's one of those positions kind of like the running back position. It's like if you don't come in smoking out the gate, the team who drafted you, they can't wait around you because every year you're finding guys in the third, fourth round that comes in and competes immediately. I mean, we've seen it with Terry McLaurin. We got guys like that already on the roster, so it's kind of like what in the 80s and the 90s they used to wait for guys. I remember the saying used to always be, it takes 3 years for a wide receiver to get it in the league.
Yeah.
But that's not the case anymore because you see more and more guys come in the league and make immediate impacts. So that's what kind of hurts guys like AGG who could eventually blossom into the guy you hoped he was when he drafted. But will he do that here? That may not happen because they've already started accumulating at the position. So now it's fighting for your spot. Now, like I said, that's not to say he can't play, or he won't latch on somewhere. It just may not be here. Now, the AJ's point, he's right. It depends on how much they like the guy. If they want to keep the guy around, they may try to look for somewhere else to play him. And that's just like you see they're doing that now with Troy Apke. I mean, Troy Apke couldn't cut it as safety, but it's something. I guess the special teams they like Troy Apke's special teams so much that they want to see if he could play cornerback now, just to see if he could just latch onto this roster some way. So you may possibly see that with a Harmon or AGG if they like him enough, but they don't know if they could put him at wide receiver here, but they want to keep him on this team, so they'll look to find a position for him elsewhere, tight end or something. So it's a possibility.
Hey, Authentic, what's going on, boss? They said Terry, Curtis, Diami, Humphreys, Cam are 5 locks. The fight is for 1 spot. I don't see it for AGG. I agree that those are probably the if there are locks, is those 5. So I agree with that. And it obviously comes down to the group that we mentioned, man. So AGG, I'm not ignoring the idea of him moving to tight end or trying tight end. This thing is gonna be it's gonna be difficult for him. And same thing for Kelvin, because we're talking about being able to catch the ball, but you got to do a lot more than just catch the ball, which is something they already know how to do. Like they gotta learn how to play that inline too. They can't just be flexed out and stuff like that. So that's gonna be a whole new learning curve at the wrong time for them in their career, in my opinion. All right. So fellas. Well, do we have anything else before we close out on receiver group? Because we about to talk about some Taylor Heinicke, man, and see where y'all heads at with this guy.
That's it for me.
All right.
I'm cool.
All right, let's get it, man. Let's get it. In the chat, y'all let us know where your head at with this one too, right? So look, we're doing the over under. And this is the shit that we see on social media. So shout out to the ToD Podcast, because they came up with the question and it caught my eye because I'm a gambler. And I if I wanted to take action, on this, I would. All right, there we go. So look, over under games on that we see Taylor Heinicke in, set at 4.5. This is from Tay and Tide. What are you taking? And this is stemming from a clip, because Dre, I saw you post on this clip too. You had mentioned it was something that he threw to AGG. Matter of fact, a touchdown. Taylor Heinicke rolled out to his left, I believe, and threw a little pretty down on the sideline. But where are you at with Taylor Heinicke? AJ, I want to hear your thoughts on this, because you also you wasn't here last week. So, what's your thoughts on Taylor Heinicke, and do we see him over 4.5 games, or is he under 4.5 games?
You better hope he's under 4. If he got to come in and play, you got a problem. I mean,
right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this Taylor Heinicke thing. I just feel like, defensive coordinators really ain't get the chance to see who he was and what he could do to game plan around him. I mean, you've seen this type of phenomenon happen so many times. Like, I mean, just recently you had Gardner Minshew. Like, everybody was thinking he's the next quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and what just happened? They picked number 1 overall and had to take a quarterback. It's like people get so hyped up on the underdog or like the feel-good story, but in actuality, like, this man really can't play. It's just he was making shit look kind of good on the fly, but even still, it wasn't anything phenomenal that I've never seen before. So if he has to even come in and play 1 or 2 games, you definitely have a problem on your hands. Like, so I'm definitely gonna go on the under.
Let's hear it, Dre.
I'm going. We're talking gambling terms, so I hope I would take the over, just because if you're going under, that means that you're seeing Taylor in the first 4 weeks of the season, which means Fitzpatrick either got injured or he just stunk up the shit. So I'm going with the over, and that's just because me being a fan, I hope it's the over. But with that being said, I do like Taylor Heinicke and what he showed, last season, in his limited spurts. I feel like he's a guy that can come in and he won't be overwhelmed, to say the least. Like, he can come in on the fly and he won't be overwhelmed. Now, how that works out over a span of games, that's yet to be determined. But you could just see he at least has some gamership in him, where he's not scared of the moment. He's not afraid of the moment. But it's a reason why the coaching staff is giving Ryan Fitzpatrick all the first team reps, and they're preparing him as the starter, because they feel like Ryan Fitzpatrick is a guy they could trust going into the season, because he's been around so long, at least, and you know what you're getting and what you won't get out of him. Whereas Taylor still has that question mark, even though I like him, but he still has that question mark. And like I said, you just don't know what he can give you over a span of games. So I'm taking the over, because as a fan, like I said, if he's going anywhere in the first 4 weeks, then you have a problem at the quarterback position right now.
So about this competition thing, right? Do you guys, I'm gonna get to my answer, but do you guys really think that it's a competition? Again, Dre, we talked about this a little bit last week, but AJ, I want you I want you in on this conversation. Is this going to be a actual competition this off season, or are we penciling in Fitzpatrick as the starter, and Heinicke is if Fitzpatrick screws it up, then you win type motherfucker? Is that who he is?
I mean, I definitely don't see how it's a competition. They're definitely promoting Fitzpatrick, all of those, photos and videos. Like, a man signed for $10 million and he could have went elsewhere. There's no way that he's coming in to be the second string quarterback, unless you go and get, veteran presence like Aaron Rodgers. But aside from that, I can't see there really being a competition. I mean, has Heinicke really got any reps with the ones yet in OTAs or even in the first day of minicamp? I really don't know. I haven't followed that closely to know that. But I think the job is Fitzpatrick's to lose, and that will happen with turnovers. But hopefully they address this quarterback position before going into the season. I mean, I didn't get the Julio Jones trade. But maybe we get the Aaron Rodgers trade.
I had that on my list of things to bring up, and I was like, hold on, man, we didn't need to bring it up. Okay, fingers crossed for Aaron Rodgers. I'm still here with you. So first off, hey Schlezo, talk to me, bro. What you think about Heinicke? I know you on the outside looking in since you an Eagles fan, but talk to me with that one. But Disco mentioned something. Actually, Authentic mentioned something as well. I want to bring up. He said the only reason why Fitz got benched last year was because the Dolphins wanted to see what they had in Tua. And I mean, yes, I think that's true. And I think it's unfortunate, right? Because there's a lot of throughout the past few years, I would say at least 2015, Fitzpatrick has had some big moments in his career. And we're not talking about whether or not like he shined. Like he had big moments as in like playing games. He's had moments where, it's not a lot, right? But he's had moments where he's had opportunities to come through for his team and take him to another level, whether it's playoffs or staying alive in the playoffs. And the two that I remember, obviously, it could have been the Miami game last year. I forgot who they lost to. I think they lost week 17, I believe. But then again, in 2015 was the one I'm thinking of right now. They had a week 17 game, a winning in situation, and they lost that. And that one was rough. That one was rough for Fitzpatrick. But with that being said, he's had unfortunate moments where he was dealing with quarterback battles. And for whatever reason, he didn't come out on top. But then also he had to deal with the politics of the game. And he's only had one or two true moments in which he had playing opportunities when he was playing really good ball. So, we'll see where Fitzpatrick is at in that regard. But Dre, this is to you, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Disco mentioned this fan base is so desperate for the underdogs, rags to riches story. They want anybody to be the next out of nowhere quarterback. Heinicke has some skills, but he's not crowning him. Where's your head with that statement? Because it's a fair one.
Well, to be fair, and to Disco's point, I mean that's really all we've gotten at QB. I mean we've got the John Baxter, Rex Gross. This is what they feed us. I mean it's a few times where they'll give us the first round guy. Those guys have been shit for us. You got Haskins. RG3 turned out to be a dud. Jason Campbell was never what you wanted him to be. Patrick Ramsey was never anything. And then on the other side, you get guys like Donovan McNabb who comes in. We went through them all, but for the most part, we've been fed the rags. That's what we get fed by this franchise. Like we haven't went out and got the bona fide guy. I mean, RG3 was the closest to that, in my opinion, when he had his first season, but what happened to him, we all saw that. Kirk Cousins, I mean, he was decent. I mean, he was almost that rags to riches thing. We drafted him in the fourth round, and he had a pretty decent little run, but he wanted more than I think he was, deserved. So that's what we've been fed. So
say it, Dre. He's some shit. Just say it, because I know you want to say it. You know what I'm saying? Get it off your chest, my brother. It's okay. This is the platform to do it. I'm here for you. I support you. I have nothing against it.
I'm a fan. So, I mean, whether it's Heinicke, Fitzpatrick, whoever it is, I'm rooting for them to succeed. And, we have no choice. I mean, but as far as whether it's a real competition, and I don't think it's a real competition, I do think that it's Fitzpatrick's job to lose. I think that Heinicke is being groomed as a backup QB. From what I've heard, him and Kyle Allen, they've been switching out number 2 reps. No one is switching out with Fitzpatrick right now for the number 1 rep, so I don't think it's a real competition. But like I said, I'm rooting for either one of them. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
and Jared, you mentioned, you think we see Kyle Allen before we see Heinicke if it comes down to it. Oh, you're talking about long-term starter. Okay. It's crazy, right? If you think about it, Jared, like, you got Heinicke and Kyle Allen, 2 motherfuckers who can't stay healthy. Like, that shit is crazy because we're talking and then you got Fitzpatrick, the one that everybody is so either up for or against in whichever way. And there's people out here who are extremely against Fitzpatrick and not even willing to give him a chance. Like that, he's the one guy who actually stays healthy. He just can't fucking stay on the field for whatever that reason is. He can't stay on the field. and it's kind of crazy, like the parallels in that sense, man. I don't know. To be honest with you, I think if Fitzpatrick is starting this entire season, it ain't gonna be Heinicke and it ain't gonna be Kyle Allen who's gonna be the future at all. It's definitely gonna be somebody that they find in free agency, be it trade or through the draft. It ain't gonna be neither one of those two, man. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. But to kind of close on my end, I think it's under. I don't think Taylor Heinicke is starting any. I don't think he's starting more than 4.5. I also don't think he's starting more than 2. And I only leave that 2 in case Fitzpatrick gets nicked, which I doubt it. So to be more specific, I'm gonna say under 4.5, and I'm gonna say Fitzpatrick starts all 17 barring injury. Put it that way. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Also, Disco got Disco. Oh, go ahead.
Hold on, I had to correct myself from earlier. I said over. I thought we were talking about the first 4.5 games of the season, over under on that. No, I'm with everybody. Yeah, so no, I just wanted to clarify. I'm with the under because I misheard the question. So yeah.
Okay, well I'm glad you said that because I was letting you talk. You know what I'm saying, and I wasn't gonna correct you. I just felt like you were saying you were for Heinicke, a fan of him, but also felt like
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. All right. Okay, so Disco mentioned.
Yeah, no, I had misheard. Yep.
All right, so Disco mentioned, oh, he got a little Kirk comment. Here's what it comes down for me. Kirk was safe, steady, and good, and we didn't win shit with him. Emphasize SHIT. Fitzpatrick is streaky, a competitor, a baller, and a turnover machine at times. I'm rolling with the Harvard dude. Hey, Disco, my man. I'm rolling with the Harvard dude too. And we kind of talk about this, right? Ever since we got Fitzpatrick, so for some people who've only seen him from a distance and kind of really wasn't in tune with the type of guy he was, at least for over the last 2 or 3 years, Fitzpatrick does wonders for a team's chemistry. And he is the guy who knows the quarterback position in and out. Like, there's nothing, regardless of the turnover count that he's had collectively in his career, you're looking at a guy for the past couple years. He's been sharp and effective every single place that he's been put at. Tampa Bay, his last couple years, or his last year specifically, was decent, but his 2 years in Miami was really efficient. And a lot of people try to take that away from him, talking about his career in total, but you're not looking at what he's been looking like the last couple years. There's just a lot of things going for him in terms of how he can maneuver offense, set up an offense pre-snap, take a chance, a selectively aggressive chance when the plays actually going on, and he's identifying his weaknesses and his strengths on the play. A lot of people don't take that into account. And like you said, authentic. His football IQ is underrated. So that's kind of where I'm at with Fitzpatrick. I think that he's starting all 17. So get me on the under with that one, man. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
All right. So AJ. Matter of fact, I just realized that AJ, he lagged out again. So I'm gonna let him be. Because this was the time I told him we wasn't gonna hold him too long. So clearly he couldn't make it. Whatever he got going on, he may have had too much liquor this weekend, and it's still going through his system. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. AJ sneaky dude, man. He like to turn up and shit. You know what I'm saying? So he be telling us about his moments and stuff. We're gonna keep that to ourselves. But AJ like to get down, man. You know what I'm saying? So
party boy right there, AJ partier.
Exactly. So before we get out of here, Dre, look, our Wizards has been eliminated. So even though we thought we were going to the finals, we're not anymore. So who do you actually have in the finals now? That now that the Wizards is gone.
One for sure, Brooklyn. I think we all know I think that's inevitable at this point from the East. For the West, shoot, man. I wouldn't rule out the Clippers. I think them getting past the Mavericks was a big thing. Now they're going to get against Utah, which is going to be tough. But I'm not betting against Kawhi in the West this year, so I'm gonna go with the Clippers and Nets in the finals.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go Nets for sure, but I also think that the Suns got something to say. Um, I as much as I love Kawhi and how he plays, man, I just don't trust his team, and it's hard for me to just jump back into it after seeing them struggle against Dallas. Not saying Dallas is trash or anything, because they're not, but they struggled and they could have got eliminated very early if it wasn't for Kawhi the last two games. So I'm gonna go Phoenix and I'm gonna go Brooklyn, man. That's gonna be a weird finals, but ugh, it should be fun when you actually see it play out.
We need some new blood, man. I'll take Phoenix in the finals. You know what I'm saying? We need some new blood.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Tito, oh, okay, authentic, yeah, Nets and Clippers. I respect that, and if it does happen, I'm a fan. Disco, I am. No, Tito's is vodka, bro. I don't know. I can't do none of that stuff. You gotta talk to Dre with that one. Tito's a Kettle One. Dre.
So I only drink one vodka in this world, and it's Tito's. That's the only vodka I drink. I won't drink any other vodka you give me. I'm only doing Tito's, and that's it. So no Kettle One. I'm sorry.
Hey, there you go. I ain't got no words for it. That's whatever Dre say. Them's the rules. I'm a tequila and Henny guy. That's it. All right. So listen,
one answer. That's it.
Exactly. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Right. Listen. This is important. We won't be here next week for the Washington football side. I will be back tomorrow. I will be back next Wednesday. But when we come back for Washington football side, we have an amazing show already lined up, man, and it's gonna be some fire. And I hope everything still stays intact in a couple weeks. But when we come back, we got some shit for y'all. Got some shit. So I appreciate everybody who tuned in live, man. This was probably one of the higher views that we've had, like consecutively. I guess that's the word on here. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Everybody who's been in the chat. I'll be back tomorrow with the All 32 side, and then 2 weeks from now we'll be back with Washington football and a great show lined up for you all. I promise you. Promise y'all. So again, catch y'all next time. I'll be back tomorrow. Dre and them, they'll be back in a couple weeks. So yeah, appreciate y'all.